Hello, senoritas, and welcome back to the show. As I adjust the mic, should have done it before we even hit record. Silly goose that I am. Quick heads up, there will be an intermission earlier than usual in this episode. Mommy's drink is almost empty, but we just wanted to start recording. Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah, we started drinking a little bit earlier than I normally would for the podcast, so we're at end of the podcast level sillies at the beginning. Oh boy. It's therapy day. Happy therapy day, everybody. I'm getting close to winning therapy. I can feel it in my bones. Okay. So, what I honestly can't remember. Well, I did. I did a whole fucking episode about it. I was just listening to it. Good grief. Yeah, so we all know the homework. The homework was April. And, well, we all know how I feel about that because I did fucking 30 minutes about it. So, Jilly was pleased with the results of that homework and the follow-up after-action report of what the podcast brought about as well. Yeah, so I'm a little distracted tonight, you mob, because in the middle of therapy, April messaged me. And I guess I should get you guys caught up here because there was, here we go, dead air. Not even 2 minutes in. Okay, it's just, status update, May has returned. So, welcome back, May. I have been instructed to tell y'all that May is amazing, and I like the fact that she is a tough nut to crack because it keeps me young. Her words, not mine. Oh, shit. Okay. What the fuck were we talking about? Good lord. This is what mommy gets for having two before she even hits record. Fuck me. Therapy report, but I'm drunk. Yes. Let's get you all caught up to date on April. So, we sent the text to April. Y'all know how that went. I persevered. I persevered twice. I was disrespected. And then we had a thought. And then we had another thought. And the thoughts continued until we reached the point where I thought to myself, after many thoughts, I will not get the closure I need from her because I don't know that she is capable of giving it to me. And you know what? And I don't even know if that's fair to say because it's not that she can't give it to me. It's that the closure I don't know what kind of closure I want. Because for all my rambling and bitching and whining and pissing and moaning, it wasn't ending. It was not open-ended. It was an ending. That was it. It was very black and white how she texted me. And it was just my silly little brain hoping that there might be some hope there in that. As much as I say, like, I don't really believe anymore that she really loved me. I believe she cared about me, but I don't think that love ever entered the equation. Some silly little part of my brain really was hoping that she still cared. And, you know, that's human nature. I was just holding on, hoping that there was something there. And I don't think there is anymore. And even keeping track of me on Snapchat, like, I'm half convinced now that that's wishful thinking and the Riz Lord putting youthful thoughts in my head. Because why did she care? And why would she care? Why would she care what I'm doing? Honestly, like, I really don't. That was what I could never figure out, is why would she care what I'm doing? So now we're doubting ourselves, which is fine, because in the end, And it doesn't sound like it because here we go. This whole episode's pretty well going to be about her, but this is the last April episode. Like, Jilly wanted me to make an episode about just saying goodbye to April, and I kind of did that in episode 13, honestly. Like, I said what I needed to say. It was all things that I probably should have said when we were together, and I just couldn't, chose not to, etc., etc., etc. And now this is the after action report, the battle damage assessment, whatever you want to call it, the BDA. So yeah, where we left off, I had messaged her, we had our little conversation, and I'd walked away from that kind of thinking, well, like, I don't really need to see you. I don't need to talk to you. Like, I don't need to look for closure in you. It's just, that's not where I'm going to find it. I have to move on myself, and I have to have a willingness to move on and a desire to move on, and that's that about that, said the cat in the hat. But then your boy had a couple drinks. So I sent her a voice note, and I basically just said, like, hello, senorita, like, and it was what I said at the end of the podcast, episode 13. I just kind of said, like, I'll save us gas and coffee money. Like, I don't really think we need to meet up. I was just kind of looking for closure and, like, still kind of have feelings for you, silly little me, blah, blah, blah. And then what has caused all the problems tonight is that I threw in at the end because I'm a fucking petty piece of shit. I said, just because I don't know how low your opinion of me has sunk, I just thought I'd add in, April is not some new bird I'm seeing. April is a pseudonym for someone on the podcast, and you can probably figure the rest out for yourself. I thought that was pretty self-explanatory. I thought wrong, unfortunately, because I woke up the next day to a text from her that said, I figured you weren't over January, and I didn't think that talking to me would help you. So she's misinterpreted it, thinking that April is January. And this is very confusing now, isn't it? I probably should have picked better fucking names here. And this is where I kind of shot myself in the dick. Shock horror. Your boy fucked up. Like, that is just, it's so funny to me that that's where her mind goes. And, like, I can't help but take it as a reflection of me as a partner that is where her mind goes. Because I very clearly was never able to fully convince her that I just didn't have these lingering feelings or desires to get back together with, or blah, 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 about January. And then there's the part of me that wonders, like, no, I'll keep that to myself. But, yeah, so, but honestly, the thought was just, the fact that she said it like slayed me. I woke up and it was a good belly laugh once I was cognizant enough to read it. So I sent her another voice note that just said, like, I'm not laughing at you, because I was fucking giggling like a little girl, but I was like, I'm not laughing at you. I'm just kind of, it's so funny to me that your head goes there, because that's not at all, like, you've just misread the situation. This is where we made the mistake. I said, January is a pseudonym for her real name. April is your pseudonym, dork. And then I had a good chuckle, and I sent it off thinking nothing of it. And there you go. This action will have fucking consequences, because she messaged me back and was like, wait, what? So how much are you bad-mouthing me? Which, like, just when I had kind of assumed that her opinion of me couldn't get any lower, that's where your mind goes. So I don't know who that says more about, my behavior or her, but and that really kind of annoys me, actually, that thinks, and like, obviously, if you're on episode 15 here, you've probably listened to the previous 14. And while I haven't always been kind about some of April's actions, I've also been very, very clear. Like, she is not some villain. She is not this crazy ex that I ended up with, and like, she's not this malicious, vindictive person. Like, we were both the victims in this relationship. And depending on what day it was more her than me or me than her. But and honestly, depending on which one of us you ask, because I would say it was more me towards the end, and she would probably say it was more her in the beginning because of all the emotional heavy lifting I had her doing, which was very unfair to her. But yeah, it's kind of shitty, to think that someone's opinion of you has just sunk so low that their first thought is like, well, you're running your mouth about me. Because the podcast is kind of a great way to work all this stuff out. And when I used to do the voice notes, like I would get in the truck and I would go drive around for like 3-4 hours and just burn gas and have the AirPods in recording voice notes. And now I have to pay rent again. And I can't afford to be spending $1,000 every 2 weeks on gas for the truck. So it's a little bit easier to kind of do it in a podcast form where it's hypothetical and it's not a Dear April and it's not a volume this. It's just kind of the podcast. And I can just kind of yarn about whatever I want. But, it's shitty to think that somebody you cared about so deeply thinks so little of you. So, sorry, we're kind of figuring this out as we're recording. It's shock horror. I didn't take the time to want to do it while it's fresh, even if it means a lot of humming and hawing and sighing. Yawning. And hopefully y'all will bear with me here because I picked a cold up from somewhere, so I'm a little congested more than usual, shock horror. So yeah, that kind of sucks. Like, I don't know. I never want her to think poorly of me, even though my behavior definitely caused her to. But, so I replied and I just said, I'm not. It's me working out the breakup and this, that, and the other, and kind of how it affected me, and blah, 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 blah. And there was a couple more things said, and that was the end of the conversation, basically. Like, I walked away from that going, like, that's the last time I'll probably ever talk to April. So, ended on a good note, or so I thought, and moved on with my day. Because, like we talked about in episode 13, like, I have decided to move on intentionally because it's not healthier or reasonable to kind of sit around pining for her, waiting and hoping that she realizes that I was the one that got away and blah, blah, blah. Like, no. And especially the way I'm dating now, like, you either want to be with me or you don't. I'm not looking for someone who's half in, half out, who's lukewarm. No. You either know that you want me or you don't. It's very black and white for me. And I'm sorry if that doesn't fit some like blah, 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 blah. I should shut the fuck up. I said recording my own podcast. So that was that. I fully thought that was the last time I would ever talk to her, and I just moved on with my day because we have decided to move on. We're not doing this tomfoolery anymore. And then I'm in therapy tonight. It's going great. Jilly's proud of me. I'm close to winning therapy. My therapist is proud of me. I can feel it in my bones. Grab the phone to jot down the homework for this week. Got a text message, which is not unusual for me to miss one because I got my shit in D&D. So it's very easy that I might have missed a notification. Open it up, and lo and behold, it's April. And it's a text that says, "What's your podcast called?" Now, having just said that I thought that would be the end of any and all communication with April moving forward, there was a small part of my brain that went, knowing what I know about her, I don't think she's going to be able to let it go now that she knows that I've talked about her on the podcast. And I kind of hate that I was right, honestly, but and I don't really know how to reply to that. I didn't at the time anyway, because while I've joked on here more than once that I would just love to slip her the link for it, and she can kind of see for herself the damage she did to me, which is kind of unfair because I might have done some damage to her too. Who knows? But as much as I've joked about that, I don't know that I'd ever want her to hear any of this, because on number one, it's all things that I should have said to her when we were together. But I was just too cowardly to say it. And number two, I don't know. Does she even deserve to hear it, kind of? Because when it mattered, she really didn't care what I had to say to her. So, and now she cares all of a sudden. And there's some irony here in that in the last couple of weeks before we had broken up, she wouldn't even listen to half the voice notes I sent her. But now that I'm talking about her and kind of talking about our relationship, she's very suddenly willing to listen to 15 plus hours of the podcast. So there's a little bit of irony there, I find. And I basically just told her that. I was like, hey, it's a lot of very personal, vulnerable stuff about our relationship and the breakup that I definitely, should have told you when we were together, but I was too much of a coward to. And I don't know that I want you to hear that. Because, and also, why do you care? Why do you fucking care? Because, I just assume you've moved on. And I'm assuming it was so easy for you to end the relationship and go on with your life. So, why do you care? Do you only care because I was talking about you and you just have to know, why do you fucking care? I don't understand. I genuinely just don't understand why she cares. And she didn't really like that answer. I got a, okay, then take care. So that was the end of that conversation. But I don't know. And at the same time, I'm a little drunk too. I can't deal with you right now. Fuck's sake. You boys wasted a little bit. I gotta be careful. I have no filter when I'm drunk. I don't want to be popping the link to the podcast off without reviewing all the episodes to make sure it's suitable for April. Fuck. I don't remember half the shit I said. But yeah, so I don't know. And you know what? That's kind of what just sticks with me. And it's the same as the Snapchat thing, which we're only 40% sure we're right about now. Is why do you care? Why does it fucking matter what I say about you? Because nobody listens to this. And the only people that I know in real life that listen to this, for sure, are the old friend and my sister. So what do you fucking care what they think? And this is probably not the therapy after action report Jilly was hoping for. Sorry, the therapist. But we're feeling introspective now. And we talked about this in therapy tonight, how I kind of, even like 4 or 5 weeks here removed, I still kind of let her get in my head and kind of affect my mood and what I'm thinking and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, I'm trying to be so intentional now to catch myself when I start falling into that trap and tell myself, like, redirect those thoughts where it's like, you know what? Why do you care, man? Why do you fucking care what April thinks of you? Because she clearly doesn't, honestly. She clearly doesn't think of me. So why should I care? And like, why let myself spiral and let someone have so much emotional control over me after they've shown me like how little they value me? And yeah, yeah. Maybe I should have been a little more sober before I started recording this, but honestly, I panicked when April texted me, so we slugged a couple in real quick. Because I was going to leave it, honestly. I wasn't going to reply. And then, Dum Dum remembered he turned on read receipts for her. So, you have to reply. So that's the update. And after this episode, even if something happens, like, I'm not going to bring it up. We won't talk about it on the podcast because I'm really done dedicating this much brain power to this, trying to figure her out, because it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't. I don't know. I don't know. And that's just the part of me that that's the part of me that latches on, is that I don't know, and I have to know, but I don't need to know. I don't need to know. And I don't need to care, because I think I said to Jilly tonight, like, and I've said it on the podcast more than once, like, if I don't know how you feel about me, that's answer enough. That is all the fucking explanation I need. I don't need, if I have to ask you, if you're not showing me, then you are showing me, if that makes sense. And I think I said to Jilly tonight, I would just, like, if she had something to say to me, she would say it, because I haven't blocked her. She still has my number. Yeah. Yeah. Not exactly the therapy episode I was hoping to do, with an active update on April. Like, fuck me, man. I thought it was done. And hopefully it is now, honestly. But, can't help but look, eh? Just can't help, because I have notifications for her silenced. So, I can't, shut the fuck up. Rackham, shut up, shut the fuck up. Who cares, buddy? Because she doesn't. So why the fuck should you? Therapy homework. Jilly was very proud of me. And I ran her through everything. I just ran you all through. And there was a lot of the typical therapist questions, like, how did that make you feel? Blah, blah, blah. But I just kind of was like, Jilly, like, the more I thought about it, the more I was just kind of like, I'm not going to get what I'm looking for from her. I have to close that door myself. I can't go to her and expect it to be some fucking movie where I'm going to get this magic moment of closure and everything's going to be fine. And it's not going to have hurt me the way that it did. Like, no, I have to close the door and intentionally decide that that door is closed and that this is something I'm willfully choosing to move past. And that's what we're doing. Even if it doesn't sound like it, because I just spent the last 24 minutes trying to unpack April's motivations for wanting to hear the podcast. So, and we just kind of yarn about that. Like, how are you going to enforce this? And how are you going to stop yourself from getting into the lows again? And are you blah, blah, blah. And like, also I had told her, like, you know, there came a point, and we had talked about this previously, is where I was like, I'm dating to distract myself from April, but that's not fair to me to be doing it so half-heartedly and not really committed to it. And it's also not fair to these girls that I'm telling, like, I'm looking for a long-term relationship, blah, 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 when I'm dating to distract. So I want to be dating. I want to find a partner, a person, and it's hard to do that when I'm half preoccupied with thoughts of April. So I can't, and like we said more than once now, I cannot sit around and wait and hope, because that's no way to live a life. And she's not coming back, honestly. And this is the little mantra I've actually started telling myself when I'm out and about driving the last couple of weeks, because I think I mentioned it one time in a previous episode. Like, I still look at when I see her model of car, like, I look to see if it's her. And when I catch myself doing it now, the last couple of weeks, I tell myself, it's not her. It's not her. And even if it was, what does it fucking matter? Because she doesn't care, and we're moving on. And it's working, honestly. This is what I've discovered kind of through therapy, is that this kind of stuff, that where it would really overwhelm me emotionally and I would kind of be stuck in my head about it and spiraling and catastrophizing, like, I have to be so intentional, paying attention to where my thoughts are kind of wandering and being on top of redirecting them when they kind of start to get out of control. And then it just naturally becomes the thought pattern that I want it to be, where I'm not spiraling at every little thing that makes me think about April anymore. And I can see her car and my eyes just kind of pass over it now. And it doesn't make my fucking stomach fall out anymore looking and seeing that she's texted me. It's just kind of a normal thing. So, like, it is working. I just have to maintain that intentionality. And tonight just kind of threw me for a loop, because before it was on my terms. I had messaged her, and the response is unknown, but like, I'm the one that initiated contact. And then for her to message me, like, is so shocking to me. I genuinely never expected to hear from her again after our conversation on Wednesday. Like, I thought that was that, and this will be a fond memory someday. Maybe it'll definitely be remembered as a learning experience for sure. But there, like I said in episode 13, like, she really did set the standard for what I look for in a partner. So that legacy lasts, and like her being the reason I'm in therapy initially, like that, she left a mark, honestly. Like everyone does, right? Like, we all kind of, what does Andy Stump say? And this is not related to what I'm talking about, but it's the same kind of metaphor. It's kind of like, when you touch war, it'll touch you back. And we all leave a mark on each other through our interactions, and this and that and the other. And some are good and some are bad and some are neutral. But April really left a good, bad, neutral mark on me, all three at once. And yeah, it just, it'll be there for a long, long while, I think. And, I said to Jilly tonight, like, it's kind of insane to me how this 2-month relationship has affected me more than my 9-year relationship. And I don't really know what to do with that information. Yeah, the only explanation I can kind of come up with is like that relationship with January died so slowly. It was death by like 1,000 cuts over years, where it was one thing after another fell away until it just couldn't support its own weight. And I saw it coming. We both saw it coming, and I had been kind of thinking about it for a while when it happened. And I took it as hard as I did because she, in the end, ended things with me, and it was a loss of control, and I wasn't expecting it, and this, that, and the other. So, and I don't know. That's probably something to dig into at a later date, but it's just the fucking funny. It's not funny. It's just very interesting to me that like a 2-month relationship ending did more damage to me than a 9-year relationship ending. And I don't really know what to do with that information, to tell you the truth. It's just kind of, it is what it is. And we'll learn the lessons we need to from it, take the things we need to, and leave the bad in the past and move on from there. And then, there's the goblin voice in my head that's like, send her the podcast. Do it. Do it. Fucking do it. And I really, I don't think I've said anything that bad about her. I would have to go back and listen to them all again, and even if I did say something bad, it wasn't that out of line for someone out of a breakup who's still, no, because there's no real excuse to shit talk her, especially after the first episode where I was like, I'm not going to talk bad about my exes, and then blah, blah, blah. So this is me not wanting to deal with the consequences of my actions is 100% what it is. Because if I didn't think I had said anything that would upset her, I would have sent her the link. And I won't, because I'm worried that she'll get mad and it will make problems for me. And I don't want to deal with it. And I'm also kind of not inclined to really do her any favors with the way it ended, honestly. What, and here we are again. What I say about you to strangers and one person you'll never meet and my sister, why do you care? It shouldn't fucking matter. And maybe somebody's listening to this right now and beating their fucking head against the wall because there's something that I'm so obviously missing. But I don't know. It's all kind of jumbled around in my head, and anything that I have to say about April, I need to say it in this episode because this is the last time that I will talk about her. Yeah, we're going to move on to bigger and better things. We're going to do this episode where it's all April all the time and the therapy after action report. And then that's that. Because like I said in episode 13, I cannot keep making podcasts about her because it just keeps it fresh in my mind. And I'm always thinking about her, and I just want to move on, honestly. And I'm only making it harder on myself. So, having said all that, I am a little bit of a liar because this week's homework, Jilly would like me to make a podcast about turning anger into motivation. Because I don't know why actually, but because she saw, I think, how angry I am with April, but she also sees how I've kind of used that anger to channel it into something productive, kind of, where, like, before therapy, I would have just sat around and stewed in this and just been mad at April and at the situation and at myself. And like, I don't want to do that this time. I don't want to be this fucking black cloud in everyone's lives where I'm just fucking miserable. Like, I spent the time being miserable and I spent the time being hurt, and like, I'm not that hurt anymore. And I am mad about it still to this day, 5 weeks later, however long it's been. But who's it helping? Holding on to that. It's not helping me. And she doesn't care one way or the other. And it's only hurting my forward progress and my growth and my development. So might as well take that energy and maybe turn it to something productive, like moving on. Oh no. Sorry, y'all. Hit the microphone with the titty. Might as well turn it into something productive and use it for self-improvement and to maybe kind of prove her wrong, because I'm sure she thought some things about me that at the time were true, but I don't know that they are anymore. Maybe some are. I don't know. Because as stubborn as she is, I'm more stubborn. And as much as I would like to text her right now and ask her, why do you fucking care so much? What does it matter to you what I say? I won't. And the whole time I've been recording this, it's been in my head. Send her this episode. And I won't. Because it doesn't help anybody. And it's just prolonging the drama and the contact that I'm really not interested in anymore. Yeah. So, good grief. I'm starting to sober up. Drink more. This was definitely not how I thought this episode was going to go, I have to tell you. I thought it'd be a fun couple yarns about therapy and how Jelly was proud of me and I'm winning therapy, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. Jelly was very stoked. Because the homework, you guys heard the homework. It was episode 13 without the commentary. And, you know, Jelly liked where my head was at. And we chatted about it and I kind of walked her through my thought process, same as you guys. And I guess I must be doing something right, because Jilly was very pleased that I got kind of to this point on my own, and she just only had a couple tips and she was kind of probing my motivations, I think, to make sure that I really was where I said I was. And, you know, as much as this has thrown me for a loop tonight, like I am, like we're going to wrap this up, and this will probably be one that I don't listen to all that much. There are a few of them where I don't like to go back and listen to them. And now everybody's texting me while I'm recording the fucking podcast. Oh man, like what the fuck am I supposed to say to that? Dating fucking blows, y'all. Like, I genuinely don't know how to have a conversation with this girl. She literally just replied, ha ha ha. Like, what the fuck am what am I supposed to say to that? Fucking nothing is what I am going to say to that, because that's no way to have a conversation. So, anyway, yes, dating intentionally and refusing to settle for less than I feel that I'm worth. because my life is a Pantene Pro V commercial now, apparently. Crossed with an oil or a Dove commercial where I'm worth it. Blah blah blah. Fucking whatever. But yeah, I'm just kind of stunned about the events of tonight. Honestly, it's really funny. It's going to be one of those things in my life where it's just this fucking unsolved mystery that I just kind of have to deal with. As much as I fucking hate it, it's probably good for me to learn to deal with this, because this is just life, and life fucking is not always fair. And it's, to me, definitely not fair that I cannot figure out why April cares so much. And also I need to stop talking about her, because I'm starting to like subconsciously replace her real name with April. Even the therapist started doing it at the end of the session tonight. She was calling her April instead of her actual name. So I should probably stop yarning about April and January, because even January, like, we were together for 9 years, and January is starting to come to mind more readily than her actual name. So Rizlord is easy because I call him Rizlord in real life. His glizziness himself. But yeah. Kind of a fucking putter across the finish line here, guys, honestly. But that went way quicker than I thought it did, too. Holy fuck, 41 minutes now. I don't know. This was kind of not the podcast I was expecting to make. Jilly would very much like me to make a Goodbye April podcast, but now I have to kind of be creative when I'm posting the episode descriptions, because if I write that it's all about fucking April, best believe I'm gonna get sorry y'all, I'm gonna get a fucking another text that's a lot more insistent than the one I got tonight. So we're gonna flex those creative muscles tomorrow on the Snapchat and the Instagram post for the podcast. So thanks for coming along with me on this thought journey. And would you fucking believe it that May asked me today, like, oh, what's the podcast? I'd love to listen to it. And I'm like, I don't know that I want you to listen to it right now, because it's a lot of like just me working out shit with my exes, and I don't want it to be that. I don't want it to be all about the various ways that I've kind of foolishly let myself get hurt because I don't know how to date and I'm not socialized and just don't pick up on stuff. So eventually we'll bring it back around to what I always did. Jeez Louise, fuck paddywhack. Sorry guys. I'll bring it back around to kind of what I always intended it to be, which is a just kind of journal podcast and we'll slow down the frequency so there'll be a little more content, just because I won't have to be doing one every day, because my life's not that exciting most of the time. So my day-to-day, there's not a lot happening. But it's also been incredibly helpful for me to supplement therapy with this podcast, where I can take the tools that Jilly is giving me and kind of build on them and work through some of this stuff on my own, and then report back to her to see if I'm on the right track. And so far I have been. So congratulations to anybody who listens to this, who's kind of come along for the fucking ride, honestly, because I don't know why you listen, especially you, old friend. My fucking life's a hot mess express, so really explain yourself when you hear this one. And you know what? It is old friend's child's birthday either today or I know it's this week. She told me, and I'm a bad friend and I fucking forgot. So let us all say a little happy birthday to the old friend's child, and we hope that it is a fantastic birthday for the child. I don't want to get too specific because I don't know how much the old friend wants me to reveal about her life. So happy birthday to the old friend's child, and we hope it's a fantastic birthday. Other than that, guys, like, that's probably going to wrap it up. This is, like I've said 6 fucking times, this is definitely not the episode I expected to sit down and make tonight. Be interesting to listen to back to this one now. Next one will probably be a little more serious too. You know what? Maybe not, because I'm going to let that one percolate for a little bit. I am going to write it out because I need to practice doing a podcast off of something that I've written. So this is the Goodbye April podcast. even though it was all very hypothetical and rambling and blah, 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 this is the ending it gets because I am fucking done talking about April. I'm done thinking about April. I'm done worrying myself about what April's doing. I'm just done with it. So I'm real sorry to anybody who found the podcast and then had to listen to fucking like 8 episodes of this shit on and off, but this will be the last time that I really dig this deep into it. Unless something like major happens, don't really ever expect to hear about April again. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm fucking still got one foot on the train, one foot on the station. Just a little lost in thought, which makes for great podcasting. But I hope y'all have a just fantabulous day, night, afternoon, whatever time it is for you. Again, with just the heads up, like I don't know what the episode frequency is anymore. Probably won't do one tomorrow unless something real ripper happens. I'll try and sneak one in on the weekend. I don't know. I feel like I want to make, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. But, thank you for coming along. For anybody who's stuck with it, thanks for coming along on the journey through working through this shit about April and January and blah, blah, blah. So I know a lot of it's probably fucking just boring high school drama shit, but hopefully it made you laugh, smile, cringe, feel better about your own fucking life, because that's all I really can do for you. So, you mob, you be good, you absolute gaggle of geese, and I will catch you in the next one. Hooroo.